Hi everyone, my name is K.Collins, and this is my presentation on land restoration efforts in the northern Colorado burn scar and associated impacts on plant-water relations. So for background, this burn scar, the fire happened on June 9th, 2012. A lightning strike began the High Park Fire in northern Colorado, and it was the third largest wildfire in Colorado's history, with over 87,000 acres, primarily forest land, being consumed in this fire. Over 250 homes were destroyed and one person was killed. So the burn scar itself in northern Colorado, high elevation. So 5,300 feet to 6,900 feet. It was 45 acres, claimed by the High Park Fire in 2012. The climate is hardening to zones, 4B to 6A, depending on that elevation. It's a cold, semi-arid climate and an exceptional drought. It gets, minimal rain, 19 inches a year, with annual snowfall of about 119 inches a year as well. And then, again, strong winds. So the land restoration began in 2020 and has included, planting native trees, fall leaf collection for mulch, terracing, building beaver dams without the beavers, local fauna and flora, and then other projects like compost collection, solar and alternative energy projects, rainwater and snowmelt collection, and obviously has included the incredible efforts and assistance of our community here. So thankfully, I get to visit a couple of times a year and help out with these projects, and it is incredible work to be doing. So the primary focus of of many of these projects is water retention via slowing down runoff of the snow and water to combat that extreme drought and the fire risk, and returning and reintroduction of native flora and fauna. So hypothesis, statement of position, the various land restoration efforts being completed, ongoing at this site contribute significantly to water retention, improving the success of flora and fauna restoration to the area. So planting native trees. So the USDA notes, trees play a critical role in green infrastructure. They slow water down, give it a chance to infiltrate into the soil, reduce storm runoff and erosion, store a great deal of surface water and nutrients, and can improve soil quality. So trees native to this region are typically drought tolerant. Some, with a thick bark or waxy leaves to prevent that water loss. Many Colorado native trees are naturally fire resistant or have actually evolved to live their life cycle dependent on these wildfires. So restoring these to the land offers reassurance for future success of forests here. So over the past few years, we've planted hundreds of trees in this burn scar. And this year, actually, the landowner became a registered tree farmer for forest restoration purposes with the Colorado State Forest Service. So they're very excited about that. While the vast majority of trees planted in the burn scar are still saplings, those roots are helping permeate the soil, increasing groundwater storage. That biological water lost through evapotranspiration can help increase humidity, helps, create clouds, more rainfall. It also provides shade to the, recovering very small plants that are existing there already, and helping, slow evaporation of surface water where it can be found. So fall leaf collection from mulch. So a study conducted by Benigo, Dixon, and Stevens in 2013 shows evidence for a 24 to 42% greater rate of seedling survival and establishment when applying a native sourced mulch amendment, with 2.5 higher times soil moisture than that of their control, and increased soil water retention, which helps improve, that restoration success for native trees. Removal of fallen leaves in the fall, that organic yard waste, increases the environmental footprint, decreases sustainability, while using that ground surface as a mulch can lessen evaporation rates, improve water use efficiency, increase water infiltratability, reduce water runoff, soil erosion. But it also serves to, as compost. So it's going to decompose and improve that soil quality, and contribute to the nitrogen cycling. So this management practice of allowing this ground surface mulching to remain or using it as mulch elsewhere is critically important for tree-dominated ecosystems and dry lands, as water availability is commonly the most limiting factor of vegetative growth. So how much can we mulch annually? So we are collecting over 1,000 bags a year. those big trash bags, or compost bags, from hardware stores. So assuming, the recommended average depth of mulch of 2 to 4 inches and collecting 1,000 bags, we'll say 1,000 for easy calculation purposes. Assuming 30 gallons per bag, that's 30,000 gallons of fallen leaves that would otherwise just be bagged up and taken to a landfill. So we run that through 1 cubic foot of leaf would cover 6 square feet at a 2-inch depth, converting that over to over 24,000 square feet of leaf mulch annually. So there's obviously a vast margin of loss in this process and the relocation. So if we assume a 20-inch loss, we would still be able to cover 19,000 square feet of usable leaf mulch annually at a 2-inch mulch depth, just using fallen leaves from a city or two in northern Colorado. So realistically, though, this leaf litter is actually mostly being used to build terrace edges right now, and it's applied far beyond that 2-inch depth. So while efficacy for evaporation prevention may be great, the depth applied to these terraces may actually prevent some of that water from percolating into the soil, and strong winds can also reduce mulch efficacy. So while it is expected, though, that any ground cover application is more effective than none. So as rainfall is much less common than the snowmelt runoff that runs down the mountains, let's address how effective the terraces may be in this region for water runoff prevention and water retention to the area. So in drylands, land restorations are most commonly hindered by the availability of water, specifically soil moisture. So terraces are built to harvest rainwater, improve soil water storage, reduce that runoff, increase interception. So throughout the world's drylands and mountainous areas, terraces have been and are still used as a critical feature of water conservation and vegetative restoration efforts. So the burn scar in northern Colorado is one such dryland mountainous environment, and we have began to implement different types of terraces. So you can see in the upper corners here 2 of the different methods we've tried so far. So you can see the beginning of one on the upper left using like a felled tree that was destroyed in the fire, dragging that with a truck to create that flattened terrace surface, and then using fallen tree limbs and branches to start building up that outer wall of the terrace. So eventually this would be leveled out to create a flat surface, though right now it may serve more as a retaining wall than a terrace on at that stage, at least. So to the upper right, you can see another method we've used for terracing, which is collecting like discarded wooden pallets from businesses and things, using those to create that retaining wall, and then filling in that area until it's flat using leaf collection. So simultaneously mulching, fertilizing the soil, and helping water be restored to the area. Another part of the land restoration efforts is building beaver dams without the beavers so far. So historically, beavers were abundant in northern Colorado until fur trapping in the 1800s and 1900s drove them to near extinction. So beavers are typically a keystone species for environments they inhabit, and while they have been reintroduced to certain areas in Colorado, they are yet to return to many of their native areas due to environmental interference by humans. So that's the case in the burn scar. So beaver dams are so important because they slow the water movement, allowing for greater interception by plants and wildlife, and their dams help prevent flooding, improve water quality, and aid in drought prevention. So as beavers are no longer residents of or near this burn scar, we've actually been creating man-made natural dams for the same effects, and hopefully one day the beavers return. So this is a little bit of the construction process. So on the left side, you can see digging out that area within like a small runoff creek, and then you can see where it started to build up, and then that retaining wall there at the bottom, or that retained amount of water at the bottom. And then on the right side, you can see a completed season dam. So this is probably maybe 2 or 3 seasons after this one was built. So there are actually now a few dozen pseudo beaver dams helping restore water to the burn scar, and plants obviously thrive near them. Local fauna appreciate the restoration as well, further increasing biodiversity, creating that more complex water cycle in the area. So we know native species like bears, deer, native birds have returned to the area actually, and even the neighborhood agricultural cows visit sometimes too. Those are actually bear prints over there on the right. So some other projects, we do compost collection from friends, neighbors, businesses, have some solar energy set up there. There's actually Wi-Fi on the mountain. uh, Run by solar, and then alternative energy projects. So there's actually my friend built this human hand wheel that is actually, we had a specialist engineer come in and help us wire this so it can actually now generate energy. And then on the very left there, you can see one of the very large rainwater snowmelt collection tanks. So, conclusion, as we continue to make progress on this land restoration project in the Brandscar and watch water return to this land, it's been incredibly evident that where there is water, there's life. From terraces to beaver dams, our efforts to slow the movement of water within the water cycle has allowed for flora and fauna to return to this area and thrive. And it continues to be an incredible success. And I am so glad to be able to be a part of this. These are my references. So actually on the right here, you can see a little mini waterfall coming down the mountain. Thank you for watching.